Good afternoon, and thank you all for joining us in this special opportunity brought to you by the not-for-profit Parks Foundation of Oak Park. The foundation is deeply committed to supporting the Park District of Oak Park's programs, facilities, and amenities, and the parks that we have in our community that really help ensure the wellness and health and well-being of our community and our residents. And today we have an opportunity to meet two very special residents who grew up in Oak Park. Graham Lehman and his brother, Olympic speed skater Emery Lehman, grew up using park programs from being very, very small to continuing to take advantage of the amenities, whether it was the ice or the ball fields. You'll hear from them as they have a conversation and invite you to that conversation here for about the next 30 minutes. And then before that ends, Emery, who is in Salt Lake at the training center, who after just finishing his degree at Marquette University, already in training for what he wants to be, and we all hope will be his third Olympic appearance in 2022 as a long track Olympic speed skater. He will be interviewed today by his big brother, who is also an accomplished athlete, and he will tell you about his accomplishments of tennis and soccer at Oak Park River Forest High School, and then a fabulous tennis success during his college years. But Graham now lives in New York City as a structural engineer building bridges and great things there. But sports and the connectedness and the sense of community, which their parents, including Marcia Lehman, who serves on the committee I do to and volunteers our time, we believe in the importance of having these amenities in our community. It's a family that connects, it's a community that connects young people. And these are very, very fine young men that it's my pleasure to introduce and to turn over to you, Graham, to have a conversation. And then we'll be able to, in a few minutes, give a behind the scenes exclusive. So that's your reward for signing in today. An exclusive look at what that training center looks like out in Salt Lake. Graham.
Thank you, Jill. And I also want to just thank the committee for putting this on, and thanks to the Parks Foundation for also hosting this. And I'm honored to be here. I will just give a very brief introduction of who I am. So as Jill mentioned, I'm Graham Lehman. I grew up in Park. I went to OPRF, and I was also a two-sport athlete at OPRF. I played soccer and tennis. In my senior year, I was first double, and I took fourth at state. And then I ended up walking on to the tennis team at Lehigh, where I played 4 years of college tennis. And then after that, I ended up becoming the assistant coach at Vassar College, which I've since left. But I'm now, as Jill mentioned, in New York. Well, currently living in Oak Park with my parents, but I have an apartment in New York where I work full time. But let's get into it. Emery, good to see you. Congratulations on finishing up at Marquette. I just figured we start this off by just kind of talking a little bit about who you are and where you are and what you're doing right now.
Hey, yeah, good to be here. Thank you guys for having me. So I'm currently in Salt Lake City. I drove out here about a week or two and a half weeks ago. I just finished my undergrad degree at Marquette in civil engineering, and so I'm out here full time. Moved out like right before finals week, which is a little bit stressful, but we got through it. And so now I'm just getting ready for summer school and training full time for what'll hopefully be, a speed skating season in the fall.
Awesome. And so I'm glad you made it out there safely. I know you were quarantining for a little bit, but it's good to see that you're healthy. Let's just talk a little bit about, how we kind of got our start in athletics. We obviously played a ton of sports growing up, especially through the Park District. Do you kind of want to just like touch on, what we played, what kind of sports we got involved in?
Yeah. Well, I know like when we were really young, we got involved in sports like t-ball and floor hockey and soccer. And I actually remember, I don't know if you remember this, but when we transferred from Montessori to Lincoln, pretty much the only people we knew when we transferred were like the kids we knew through the community center and through these sports. So, my friends that played t-ball with and floor hockey, those are the kind of sports and friends that I had growing up, like doing in elementary school. And then as we met more people, we ended up just doing more and more sports that they ended up doing too. So kind of just snowballed into doing all these sports with all of our friends, which all started with us doing them through the community center.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy to think that a lot of the friends that we made when we were in third and fourth and fifth grade are people who we're still friends with today, and who some of which have like really successful athletic careers. So I just think that's really great to think that that's how we got our start. I can remember just playing at all these, local elementary schools, playing t-ball and playing floor hockey in the gyms. And that was just a very fond memory of mine. But I think it's also pretty cool that, a lot of these people who we met when we were younger are kids who we still are in touch with today. I mean, these are relationships that we built, over, years. And these are kids that we still talk to today and stay in touch with.
Yeah, it's crazy to think like 4 of my closest friends I all met through like either lacrosse or baseball or soccer, which are all like things that we did, at the community center. And even crazier to think that, a kid that I played t-ball with is, playing in the NFL right now. So like, kids like Robert Swain or Simi Cobbs or Brian Mooney, who are still like training like athletes at the really high level. And we like just played against these kids in like flag football growing up or basketball or whatever it was. But yeah, like I said, my 4 closest friends I met through these community center sports, and if not that, then another sport, like hockey or something through Ridgeland Commons. But yeah, we still have that competitive nature today.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I would say too that I think that the park district really helped foster like a very competitive nature in us. I mean, in a healthy competitive, but it also allowed us to branch out and pursue, travel sports. And, I think they obviously need to take credit for, we met a lot of friends through travel baseball and travel lacrosse and travel hockey, because we built very solid athletic foundations and relationships through the park district. I mean, at the end of the day, that's where we made our first friends and where we learned how to play these sports for the first time. And then we ended up, when we got good and we could start going off, that's what we did.
Yeah, I mean, not only like on the competitive side of that, like not only were we competitive through these sports, but like we brought that into school, or you and I, like, I don't know, all of our backyard pickup basketball games always turned to fights because we were just so competitive. But yeah, but on top of that, like doing all these different sports, like getting thrown into different teams, learning new rules. And like, even in high school, I was like playing so many sports with so many rules that it was like, I could only remember the rules of that sport, like when that season came. So it was a good way of like kind of messing with your brain to like learn all these different things and, have to work with different people and literally like, some kids obviously didn't play multiple sports. So, just new people, new coaches, and every time, I think it was really good for us.
Oh, it was a constant adjustment. I thought that it was really good that we had that kind of diverse experience growing up. I mean, we played at least 3 sports. I mean, flag football, off the top of my head, flag football, floor hockey, t-ball, soccer for sure, swimming. We did almost everything you could imagine. We did it, and we made a ton of friends, and we learned to become extremely competitive, obviously in a healthy way. But, I thought that really also pushed us in all aspects of our life. Like, we're the individuals that we are because of, those relationships that we made, because of the experiences we had with the park district. I mean, had we even, have we not had something like the park district, to help us, get involved in those kinds of sports, I don't know if, we would have turned out the way we did. I played Division I tennis, and you're now pursuing your 3rd Olympics. I mean, that's incredible, but I don't know if without the park district, if we're doing those things. But
I mean, yeah, for sure. Like going into like training for my first Olympic team, like we still held that like, doing as many sports as possible. Like I was playing, short track, or I was skating short track, and I was skating long track. And then in the spring, I was just playing lacrosse. So, it was all these things of just like, it was like the norm for us to like be involved. And we almost did it just because like, like I said, like it snowballed. All of our friends were doing it. So it was like a social aspect to it all.
Yeah. And it's also, I mean, now that I think about it, it's crazy to think that we were able to do a lot of these things all at once. I mean, there were times, I know that you can think back to like when we would have, one practice. I mean, you were speed skating in Milwaukee, and then you'd come back and you'd have another practice, lacrosse or hockey practice at night. Like I remember when I was in soccer season, like I'd have soccer practice right after school, and then immediately after soccer practice, I would go down the street and hit some tennis balls on the ball machine. That was just kind of like, and then right after that we had homework. I mean, that was just how we did things.
Yeah, it definitely kept us busy, but also doing that many things, there were definitely a lot of ups and downs. Like I remember so many times of just like, getting my butt kicked by like just better athletes that maybe just only did that one sport, or that kids that were just bigger than you,
Yeah.
But that definitely helped me now, because, there are times when I have an awful race, and, there are often weekends where you have like 3-4 races a weekend. So really dwell on one, then it could really like set you up for failure for the next. And not only that, is like our World Cup season, we have 4 World Cups in 5 weekends. So if your first race of that, 5-weekend stretch goes poorly and you dwell on it, then you're going to have a long month ahead of you there,
Yeah. I was actually going to say too that I thought that, our experiences growing up playing a lot of different sports, I mean, we lost a lot. I mean, we're talking about, lots of seasons where we had losing records. And, but I thought that taught us a lot about, learning how to lose, and, just how to handle adversity, not just in sports, but in life. I mean, with everything that's going on now, and just like, things that you come across in your life. I mean, these are lessons that you learn and you take with you, and you build on these things, over time.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely, all that like losing, no one, it really like takes you out of your comfort zone, like no one really is comfortable losing. I mean, at least I'm not, I know you're not, like, but I think majority of people are not comfortable losing. So, when you lose, there's always something to be, there's always something to learn, a lesson to take away. And I think by, getting all those lessons through all these different sports at a time, we were just taking in so many lessons at a time that it really helped us, in all aspects of our life, but especially in sport. And like when we honed in on one single sport, we could, take all these lessons and hone in on it.
Yeah. I mean, nobody enjoys losing, I would say, but there were a lot of lessons that we learned, and I'm really thankful that we had those lessons. But I did want to also transition to the community center, which is what we're here for. We're here to raise money for the community center. What do you think, Emery, what do you think this will do for kids that were maybe in our position growing up? Like how do you think, this would be good for our community?
Well, I definitely think it'd be an easier way to make friends, because, instead of, I remember, mom signing me up for a team and, on the north side of Oak Park, when I wanted my friends on the south side of Oak Park. So, when there's a community center where everyone can meet, it'd be a lot easier, I'm sure, on the parents. But also, like a lot of my friends, we met through the park district, and if I didn't play a sport with them, you played a sport with them. And if your friends didn't, you didn't play a sport with them, they probably played it with me. So, everyone our age or within 4 years of older than us, younger than us, everyone somehow played the same sports growing up through, the park district. So having this community center as a place to go, like that would only infinitely, unite all these kids of all these different ages in this community center. But even in the winters, we used to go to all the different pond hockey rinks at all the different parks, or mainly we went to Longfellow all the time, but like just things like that are like the memories that I still remember from through the park district, things like that, or the flag football and floor hockey and all those things. And of course I remember from T-ball, every time it was our parents' turn to bring the snacks and the sugary drinks, they'd always try to do a healthy spin on it. And so no one really liked when our parents, brought all that stuff after the T-ball games, but I mean, we didn't either. But yeah, those are like some of the good memories that I have from, growing up and having participated through sports in the community center.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
I was also going to say too, sorry to interrupt you, but I was also going to,
no, go for it.
I think that, you and I grew up very close in age. I mean, we're only 18 months apart, but, we had a ton of overlap in our friends. Like we had a lot of the same friends that, we played with maybe because I was playing with kids who were younger with me, or you were playing with kids who were older than you. But, those are relationships that we kind of made through sports. But I think that, with a community center, like those are relationships that you're going to get. Like those are just, you're going to find those people.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, and then, I also want to do, before we move on, I just wanted to touch on too, a hot topic today is, mental health. So I just wanted to kind of also discuss with you, how do you think, mental health will benefit, like someone's mental health will benefit from a community center like this? Like, how do you think, kids would really be able to, improve their mental health with something like this?
Yeah, well, I think wherever there's a strong sense of community and kids feel welcome, then that's, there are positive things to be had out of everyone when that goes on. So I think in a place with a community center where everyone's very welcomed and, kids that don't have anywhere to go before school or after school, it's a place for them to really feel welcome. And, I think if they can incorporate that into their schedules, then not only will they will feel more comfortable, but, they'll also make new friends for other people who may go there just for, like us, like for the pure enjoyment of sport. So.
Yeah. And just kind of transitioning, I know you're currently at a training facility in Salt Lake City. So, I know obviously you're kind of limited in what you can show us based on what's kind of shut down, but I'm understanding that you're going to be able to show us a little bit of where you're training, what your kind of setup looks like out there.
Yeah, I can flip my camera here and we can go through a little tour. So I was just sitting here at the desks. So these were all the different coaches sit. Long track coaches sit here generally. Short track coaches will sit here. And then our nutritionist and weight coach will sit there. But so this is generally the entrances over here. So we kind of had a little poll at the beginning of, I think it was post 2018 Olympics, of what the name of this building would be. And I think I got to say I wasn't involved in that because I was back in Milwaukee, but I think they settled on the Speed Factory. So which is literally right across this little walkway through these doors. But that is closed to the public now. So this is all for just the national team athletes currently. So when you walk in, we have some of our gym equipment, some slide boards. This board is usually filled with writing during the season of upcoming competitions, motivational quotes, what training program we're on, and generally things to get us excited for the week. And then as you walk in here, we have a little snack area, which we've had to move down here due to COVID. Our kitchen is up those steps, but I'm actually not allowed to go in because it's closed. So this is our new mini adapted kitchen where you're allowed to take a thing and leave. And then across from that, as you can see on the walls, we have pretty much we do have all of our Olympic champions. So go from people from all the way back from 64 to Eric Heiden in the 80s. And then I don't know if you can see as we walk down here, but there's the speed skater I think everybody knows, which is Apollo Ono, in between Dan Jansen and Peter Mueller. But so these are our weight room or our squat racks for our weight room. It used to be in an old locker room in the Oval, but this was built, like I said, after the 2018 Olympics. As you walk further down the line, you get a few more of our Olympic champions. Shawnee Davis is up there, who's my personal hero growing up and who I trained with a lot. And then, of course, we have our stationary bikes. And then back here, actually, these are our, we call them compu trainers. And it looks like an ordinary trainer, except for it measures power. So they're a little bit more expensive. And our team spends a lot of time on these. We usually bike between like 10 to 20 hours a week. So if the weather's not nice outside, which it's nice most days, but mainly in the winter, we spend a lot of time on those. And then when we're not training, our trainer lets us take out this ping pong table, which I love to do, of course. And then this is kind of the area of things that needs to be wiped down with the adapted COVID. But as you can see, these benches will go to the squat racks over there. that bike would go with all the bikes. And this is more of a stretching and core and rehab part of the Speed Factory. So we spend a lot of time here right after ice, usually when we're doing team core, and we have our Kaiser meters over there for jumps. And then through these doors here takes us into the training room. As you can see, it's a little empty because of COVID, so it's not being used, but we have our little US speed skating training tables. There's a few more back here. And if there's ever a competition, usually it's being played on that TV up there. And then on the wall, you can see a few more of our Olympic medalists from US speed skating, but not Olympic champions, but still very, very, very impressive athletes. And as you come here, as you can see, we're not using them, but hot tub and cold tub. And these are personal favorites of mine. I like to do what we call a contrast bath, where I'm hopping between the hot and the cold. And I usually do that for like 20 minutes. And it makes you kind of gets a pumping feeling in your legs. And when you're really sore and you have 2 or 3 more races, it's a good thing to do. So as we walk down the hall more, we have some doctor's rooms. And then we have our women's locker room and men's locker room, which are currently closed because we haven't been in to put our stuff in yet. And we have some more pictures of more Olympic medalists. And then over here is actually, if the motion sensor lights turn on, yep. This is an equipment room where we keep all sorts of trainers, bikes, travel bike containers. And then through those doors is a skate technician's room. So really only our equipment manager spends a ton of time in here. But this is where we rock blades. Every blade is rocked to a different radius. So like I, for instance, skate on a 23-meter radius on my blade. And so that machine right there will, if it ever gets, because we hand sharpen our skates, so there's a lot of air in that over time. So that machine there kind of shaves down your blade to a perfect radius of whatever you set it at. And we got a stereo, some tools, some masks. And then as we walk out of the equipment room, it takes us right back to the weight room. And then if we were allowed to go up to the kitchen, it would be up these steps. But so this side of the facility is only open to the national team, like I said, but the actual rink was built for the 2002 Olympics. And that rink actually has the most world records out of any of the rinks in the world. So it has technically the fastest ice in the world. And that's mainly due to its altitude. I think it's the highest rink in the world, one of the highest rinks in the world. I think one of the highest rinks in the world where there's been an international competition. So that it has a big, a lot of international teams come to skate here over the summers due to how fast the ice is. But obviously things will change this year due to COVID and everything. So it'll be interesting to see when things open up. But as of now, the ice on the oval is supposed to go in on August 17th. So it's a little later than most years. But anyways, if we walk out here, these are lifting platforms we've been using to lift up sides, get a little social distancing, enjoy the weather a little bit. And then the last part of the Speed Factory up here is our little balcony where if our coach wants to keep an eye on us, we can plug in our music onto the speakers over there, set up the compy trainers out here, and enjoy the view of the mountains and kind of ride in peace as much as you can on a 3-4 hour bike ride. So, and then there's the parking lot and entrance, and there's the rink manager, Derek Parra, who medaled twice in the 2002 Olympics. He's a very impressive skater and great guy. So that is pretty much that is the Speed Factory.
So Emery, thank you for showing us around. I know I was able to see it actually last winter when I came out and visited you. But I just wanted to say, I know you know this, but we're all so proud of you as a community. And you get a lot of support from your Olympic family. We want kids in the Oak Park community to get that type of support with a community center. So we have a really special opportunity to help out with that. So again, thank you for showing us around.
Thank you guys. And of course, I was very honored to be a part of this event, and hopefully others will help in our family in supporting this project. Thank you everyone so much for joining us today. If you have any, or you want any more information, you can give your support and view www.parksfoundationop.org. And thank you for the Parks Foundation and department for everything they've done to help Graham and I as we've grown up and molded ourselves into the athletes and people we are today.
Thank you guys,
All right.
and thank you all who joined us. Wonderful, and we're proud of both of you. And good luck, Emery.
Thank you very much.
Have a great day, everyone, and thanks again for joining us. Bye.